Okay, so you've made it. You're in the final round for that director role. Let's be real, at this point, they're not really testing your technical skills anymore. What they are testing is your leadership, your influence, and really how you handle the most complex part of any business, people. Now, interviewers are going to probe your leadership from every possible angle, right? But here's the secret. Almost all of their questions, they boil down to just 4 key stakeholder scenarios. And if you can nail these 4, well, you're going to master the interview.
And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through every single one of them. I'm going to give you the exact mindset, and even some of the language you can use to prove you're ready. Just think of this as your roadmap to absolutely acing it.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll quickly touch on the core challenge of the director interview. Then we'll dive right into the 4 scenarios: managing your team, handling the C-suite, influencing your peers, and partnering with risk. And then, at the end, we're going to wrap it all up into one killer, director-ready answer. So what's the fundamental test here? It's this. You have to prove that you've made the leap. You're not the star individual performer anymore. No, your job now is to be the leader who creates the conditions for everyone else to win. And let me tell you, that is a profound mindset shift. All right, let's start with scenario 1, managing your team. This is usually where the interview kicks off. And they're not asking if you can manage a to-do list, right? They're asking something much bigger. Can you build and empower other leaders?
This quote right here, this is the core idea you need to get across. I mean, really internalize this sentence. It shows you get it, that your success isn't about your output anymore. It's measured by the growth and success of your team. And that's a total game changer.
So this mindset, it really breaks down into 2 key parts. First, you got to be a multiplier, not the best individual player. You give your team the destination, the what and the why, but then you let them own the route. You let them figure out the how. And second, you provide what's called air cover. So when the political heat comes down from above, you take it. You're the shield, so your team can just stay focused and do their best work. Okay, so we've talked about managing your team. Let's flip the script. How do you manage up to the C-suite? We're talking top-level execs here. The stakes are way higher, and believe me, they're looking for one very specific quality.
And this quote, this is your anchor for every single C-suite conversation. You see, junior folks, they present a menu of options. They're basically asking their boss to make the hard call. But a director? A director walks in with a recommendation. The other options are just there as context to prove you've done your homework.
I mean, just look at the difference here. The person on the left is asking, so, what should we do? But the leader on the right is saying, here is what I believe we must do, and this is why. That right there, that's the jump from just doing analysis to actually leading.
Okay, but what happens when they inevitably push back? Well, you use a really simple framework. You just ask yourself one question. Is this pushback based on new data that I didn't have? If the answer is yes, you humbly update your view. But if it's just pressure or someone's opinion, you hold your ground, respectfully, of course. This shows you have conviction, but you're not just being stubborn.
All right, now for what might be the trickiest scenario of all, influencing your peers. The people you have zero direct authority over. Every department is trying to protect its own turf, right? Trying to fight that head-on is a losing battle. The secret is to work with that reality, not against it.
And I love this quote because it completely reframes the challenge. See, alignment isn't something you just hope for in a meeting. It's a product. It's something you strategically design, just like you design a new feature for a customer.
So how do you design alignment? Well, it's a 3-step process. First, you have to map their incentives. You need to deeply understand what makes your peers tick. Second, find a shared enemy. It could be a competitor, a market threat, whatever. Seriously, nothing unifies people like a common enemy. And finally, you have to make it easier for them to say yes than to say no. Do all the pre-work so that agreeing with you is just the path of least resistance.
Okay, our final scenario. This one deals with a very specific kind of peer. Teens like risk and compliance. The people whose job it is to make sure the company is following the rules and staying out of trouble. These relationships can feel adversarial, to say the least, but a true director-level leader knows how to turn them into powerful partnerships.
And the crucial reframe is right here. Risk isn't some gate you have to pass through at the very end of a project. No, it's a core product requirement right from day one. You don't build a product and then hope it passes a risk review. You build the product with risk principles baked right in.
So here's how you do it. First, never fight the no. Don't argue. Instead, get curious. Ask for the number behind the no. What's the specific metric or the threshold that's causing the concern? Then, and this is key, bring them in early. Make them co-designers of the solution, not just blockers at the end. Because think about it, if they help write the plan, they can't really block it, can they?
Okay, so we've walked through all 4 key scenarios. Now it's time to pull it all together. Because when the interviewer inevitably leans in and asks, "So, why do you think you're ready to be a director?" This is how you're going to answer.
This is your transition line. It wraps up everything we've talked about, from empowering your team all the way to aligning the entire organization. It proves you understand that real leadership isn't about you being the hero, it's about creating an impact at the system level.
And that's the whole framework. It's simple, right? It's designed to be memorable. You've got your 4 scenarios, 4 anchor quotes to ground your answers, and 1 powerful line to sum up your entire leadership philosophy.
Look, that right there is the foundation for stakeholder mastery. The rest, well, the rest is up to you. Now go get it.